ready to jump into a world with music and swords and political intrigue.
Right.
Because today we are diving deep into Chapter 1 of Shadows of Kingdom Silvernine, and this book, it doesn't mess around.
No, it does not.
It throws you right into the action.
It really does. The way the author chooses to open with King Gholo's funeral, right? Like, it just sets this tone.
Yeah.
This is going to be a story about tension.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a story about potential conflict.
It's like you walk into this room and everyone's in morning attire, but it's also a very grand ballroom.
Absolutely.
It's this weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, and the fact that you have leaders from all 8 realms that are gathered for this funeral.
8 realms?
That's a lot of realms. Speaks volumes about King Gholo and his influence, right? This isn't just some local event. This is something that has implications for this entire world.
Yeah.
And the death of a king, especially one that's this influential, it creates a power vacuum, and that just spells instability.
Yeah, it's like the old saying, when a king dies, the kingdom holds its breath. And speaking of the 8 realms, can you imagine how much world building is packed into that one detail?
Oh, yeah.
We're not just dealing with one kingdom here.
Right.
We're in a whole interconnected world, and I want to know more about each one.
You've got to think that each realm has its own culture, its own history, its own probably set of secrets.
Oh, for sure.
It just makes you want to know more as a reader.
And it makes you kind of want to draw a map.
Right.
Like, what does this world look like?
Exactly.
But before we get lost in the vastness of it all, let's talk about our protagonist, Jason Griss. We meet him, and he's practicing swordplay in the training yard.
Yeah.
He's totally focused. He's dedicated. You can tell this guy's a skilled warrior.
Oh, yeah. He's got more to him than meets the eye.
Yes, and that's where this whole concept of artistry and combat comes into play.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just about brawn in this world.
It's true.
It's also about the mental discipline.
Yes.
The creative expression.
Monohox is a place where you've got to have it all.
And that's so refreshing. I feel like we're so used to fantasy worlds where it is all about the brute force.
Right.
You know?
You're right.
But here, the arts are valued, they're nurtured, and that's where Jason's violin performance comes in.
Yes.
It's not just a hobby for this guy.
No.
It is a representation of Monohox itself.
It's so true.
Tradition, courage, artistry, all wrapped up into one.
And don't forget the line, his outfit was just as striking as his music.
Oh, good one.
Just emphasizing the presentation matters.
Yes.
In Monohox.
Image.
This is a culture that appreciates beauty and appreciates symbolism.
Ooh, I like that.
You know?
Okay, so we've got this kingdom in mourning. We've got this warrior who's also a musician.
Multi-talented.
And now we're introduced to princesses Jadian and Greta.
Oh, yes. The princesses.
And their conversation is short, but it is so juicy.
It's packed.
Packed.
With so much...
With intrigue.
Intrigue.
Yes, and this is where we start to see, I think, the gears turning in terms of the political maneuvering that's going to happen.
100%.
Because these princesses are under pressure to find husbands.
Right.
And not just for love,
right,
but for the future of Monohox.
It's all about alliances.
Alliances.
It's bigger than them.
Yes. And I love that Greta's the one who says this, but she says, the 8 realms have become a barren wasteland for suitable men.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong. But it's also kind of funny.
It's a little bit for
because, you know, it's like, oh no, all the good ones are gone.
Right. Where are they?
But it highlights this challenge of, like, finding a partner in this world isn't just about, like, oh, I like this guy.
Right.
It is a strategic decision.
100%.
With huge consequences.
And you get the sense that the pool of candidates is already limited as it is.
Yeah, right.
So that raises the stakes even higher.
Okay, so let's talk about Commander Bale and his late wife Line, because they saw something in Jason when he was just a recruit.
Yes, they did.
They mentored him, they shaped him, they made him into the warrior that he is today.
They were like his surrogate parents.
Yes, and I think it just speaks volumes about mentorship, wouldn't you say?
100%. Mentorship is about guidance.
Yes.
But it's also about seeing the potential in someone.
Yes.
That they maybe don't even see in themselves.
Yes.
And it seems like in Jason's case, Line's belief in his music really played a role in that.
Yeah, I think so too.
In his development as a warrior, even.
It's like she understood this different side of him. It's like she saw the bigger picture, you know? It wasn't artistry or combat. It was artistry and combat.
Yes, and it all plays into that unique culture of Monohox, where those two things aren't so different.
Right.
You know? That creativity and that martial prowess, they're both valued.
Yes.
But going back to Bale for a second, don't forget what he says about Jason's talent not going unnoticed by the rulers of Monohox.
Ooh, that gives me chills every time. Like, you can practically hear the whispers in the palace.
Yes, like his talent might be more of a danger than he realizes.
100%. And then just when you think this chapter can't get any more intriguing, in walks Chief Ra-Shigin.
Right, the leader of the mountain tribe.
This guy, talk about an entrance.
He's an imposing figure, even in the context of, a funeral procession.
You get the sense of his power the minute he steps onto the page.
Oh, yeah. And that question he asks Jason, why strings instead of a sword?
Ooh, it's so loaded.
It's loaded. It's like he's testing him.
It's a test for sure.
To figure out where his loyalties lie.
Yes. Because remember, the kingdoms and the tribes haven't always gotten along.
They have not. There's history there.
Oh, yeah.
And his question just cuts right to the heart of that.
It's so good. And then he's like, oh, by the way, my daughter's going to be the future leader of the tribe. You should think about uniting the kingdoms and the tribes.
Right. Like, it's no big deal.
Out of nowhere.
It's such a strategic move, though, on his part.
Oh, yeah.
He recognizes that Jason is in this totally unique position.
He's got skills.
He's a warrior. He's an artist.
He does it all.
And now this alliance has the potential to just change the whole game.
It's crazy. So it's clear this funeral isn't just about mourning the past, right? It's about shaping the future.
Yeah.
And nothing drives that point home more than when we're introduced to all 8 realms.
Yes, the author does a great job here giving us this crash course in world building.
Through the eyes of the high priests.
Right.
So smart.
Just like you said, we've got Lady Adira from the fiery lands of Faraga.
We've got Lord Adian Ruku's the Beacon of Light.
Yes, in the Midlands.
Don't forget about Chief Ra-Shigin, guardian of the mountains and forests.
Yes, each one of these leaders represents a completely different side of this world.
It's so cool. And, different set of beliefs, different customs, and probably different conflicts.
Oh, for sure.
And just when you think you've absorbed all of it,
right,
the chapter ends with, so tonight we shall crown his heir to take his place at the throne of Monohox.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you got a cliffhanger.
Right, and it just completely reframes everything. It's no longer a question of will there be conflict. It's when and from whom.
It's like all bets are off.
Yes, somebody's going to rise to power.
But at what cost?
At what cost? Exactly.
See, this is why I love this opening chapter.
That's so good.
It's like the author set all the pieces on the board for us.
Yes.
We have a grieving kingdom.
A talented hero.
Ambitious princesses.
A powerful tribal leader.
Whispers of unrest from the 8 realms.
This is more than just a game.
And we just have to know what happens next. Okay, so much to unpack here. We've gotten a taste of this world. So many questions.
So many.
But let's get back to basics. What stood out to you in this first chapter?
It's funny because for me, it was that blend of tradition and change.
Oh, interesting.
Monohox is built on all these ancient customs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can also tell there's an openness to new ideas, new ways of thinking.
Totally.
I mean, they embrace the arts. They recognize potential in unexpected places.
It's like they're holding on to what matters, but they're not afraid to evolve.
Exactly. And that makes it so interesting when you think about the conflict that's coming.
Ooh.
Right. What happens when this kingdom that values both tradition and change? What happens when it's faced with a challenge that shakes its foundation?
That is a great question.
Right.
Because this chapter was like getting a glimpse into the heart of Monohox, and it is beating fast.
Yes.
Change is coming.
It's coming, and it's going to be messy.
It's going to be messy. I like that. And you know what? I think this isn't just about the characters or even the kingdom.
Right.
This is about us.
Oh, 100%.
As the readers, as the listeners.
We're in it now.
We're in it now. We have to think critically about tradition, about change.
About power, too.
Ooh, about power. That's huge in this.
About how those things can bring peace or they can bring conflict.
It's almost like the author saying, okay, here's the setting. Here are the characters.
Right.
Now, what do you think is going to happen?
What would you do?
Yes.
It's that active engagement that just pulls you in.
Hooks you. And, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with this question. What kind of challenges is Jason going to face as he's navigating this world? Because he's got music, he's got swords, he's got shifting alliances all around him.
It's a lot. It makes you think about the kingdom as a whole, too.
Oh, totally.
How is Monohox going to handle everything changing?
Yeah.
Will they be stuck in the past? Or will they embrace what's ahead?
And that's what's so great about Shadows of Kingdom Silver 9, right?
Absolutely.
It's a story that stays with you.
Long after you finish the chapter.
Yes. It makes you think it's challenging. It's rewarding.
That's the mark of a truly great story.
So what are you waiting for? Get ready for chapter 2. It's going to be a wild ride.